We're at World of Concrete for 2024, and we're in the Diablo booth with Russell Cole, who is the CEO. And I gotta tell you, I really appreciate you taking some time to actually talk with us.
You bet.
Russell, every time I come to a show or see the product or even use the products, I say to myself, I can't imagine that there's a way for Diablo to make this product better. And it seems like you are constantly improving. What's the direction? How do you keep this pace up?
Our ability to connect with, we come from the school. If we're willing to listen, our customers are going to tell us everything we need to know. And so what do we know? We know that this market is very dynamic and changing very quickly. And so as tools have radically changed, whether they're adding more power, maybe they're new in terms of new applications, the whole cordless momentum, the world has shifted for them very significantly. And so what we want to make sure is that we are allowing each tool to realize their full potential.
Woo! We're making the power tools better, we're making the job safer, and we're creating productivity and putting real money back in the contractor's pocket. So,
I agree.
Masonry drilling, you know, the market was at a 2-cutter insert, limited technology, because in clean concrete you're okay till that bit wears down, but when you hit rebar, which is not if, it's when you're gonna hit it, you had to go get a rebar cutter, right?
10 years ago, rebar was only around 40 to 45% in structures. Now it's 70, 80, and that's not going to slow down with codes increasing.
Sure.
Another $45, $50, $60 tool, depending on the diameter. And now you got to put your drill in rotary mode, grind your way through there, the clock's ticking, right? And if you're drilling hundreds of holes, that's a lot of time.
And the other thing is that when you're drilling through that rebar, you don't know how thick it is.
Right.
Eventually you're going to hit cement or concrete.
Right. And now you got to go back and switch back to your other bit.
Yeah, and if you might have destroyed this bit, no?
That's correct. But with the Rebar Demon, again, we launched this 3 years ago. That was a breakthrough, right? Because you could hit rebar, just stay in hammer mode, and just keep on rolling.
Straight through. I love this bit.
Right. Now the challenge was, on the job site, as you're drilling, you're creating what?
You're creating particulate in the air.
You're putting out particulate out in the air, right? So why is that bad, right? Now you're exposing the end user, you're exposing who's next to you.
Sure.
You've probably got somebody with if you're gonna deal with it, they're gonna have a vacuum around, right? So they're gonna be having to work through that. And then if they're gonna go and set chemical or mechanical anchors, right? Now they gotta make sure they have a clean hole before they continue.
You gotta evacuate that
so
hole.
Safety and structural integrity, it's critical that we keep those two things. We wanna address those. Now, what happened to the market? The market introduced a hollow bit, right? But you can see it's still a limited amount of carbide. It's a hollow.
Yeah.
So you lose all that structural integrity, and those holes are small, very limited volume. Any kind of moisture, this bit gets clogged up.
Yep.
So now, and these bits are expensive, you know?
Oh yeah.
Right? So you're looking at $15, $16. You get up into a hollow bit, now you're at $70, $80, $100, $200, depending on the diameter, you're over $200. I mean, this bit here is over $200, right? So now you're clogged up, you got a boot, limited volume coming through. It's not a good situation, and now that dust, you're back to dust is everywhere.
And my whole thing is that if it performs, maybe it would be an easier sell. There's so many problems with this bit.
Right.
It becomes a hard sell at $200 a piece.
Yeah, and again, now the dust is in the air.
Yeah.
And you're not properly prepared for your anchor.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so let's give it a go. Let's drill a couple holes. You mind drilling for me?
No, I don't mind at all.
All right. So
what are we drilling with? The new solution?
No, I'm going to let you drill with the
old solution.
That's correct. All right, Amp Rebar Demon. Let's talk about anchor installation. Right?
Okay.
Whether we're going chemical for doweling.
Yes.
Right? Whether it's rebar, all thread, whatever it might be, right? What do you got to do? You got to drill your hole, and then the specifications of the anchor system is the blow brush blow, right? You got to blow your hole, you got to blush your hole, you got to make sure you got it clean, right? Now, in the meantime, you're putting all that dust out in the air.
Sure.
Whether you're drilling horizontal, vertical overhead, all those, you're creating a lot of dust in your face. So, yep, right as that. Wow, look at that. One hole. Let's say he's got hundreds to do. You know, that's a lot of dust out there, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Blow, brush, blow.
Yeah, I'll do this because I don't want to do it.
You're gonna blow?
Yeah. All right, I forget which hole it was.
We're right here.
You sure? Yeah?
Yeah.
You good? Yeah. I gotta hit it like 2 or 3 times.
All right, brush.
Yeah. You still got a lot of dust, right?
Yeah. You might want to. You might want to blow.
Well, you got to blow it again. You got to get 2 or 3 more. Still, they're still at incremental, right? You got to carry these around.
Yeah.
Or you got an air compressor, or you got somebody else, another laborer behind you with a vacuum trying to deal with all that.
Right.
Right. And then you could go installing your rebar, installing your all thread. You're putting your anchors in, right? So it's a lot of time involved. Now, let's go to the real solution. Connect that in there.
We all good?
Yeah. How'd it feel?
That's great.
Yeah?
That's great. Not only was I amazed at the reduced particulate.
Yep.
I feel like the hole drilled a lot faster, easier.
Yep. That's correct, right? More efficiency, right? You're getting that material out of the way.
Yeah.
It's allowing the bit to do its work. So we did have a little surface, right?
Of course.
Right, but now we want to go to our install. That's right. What?
That's great.
Yeah. So I don't even need to brush. I don't need to do this step. Now I can go from drill
Straight to setting
fill.
your fastener.
Drill to fill.
That's awesome.
Right? Now, what if you're overhead? You need smaller for TAPCon sizes, right?
Okay.
Still got a solution. Overhead drilling, and you're allowing that depth, still getting that dust out of the way. You got deep hole drilling. You know, if you're putting in number 9 bar for SDS-Max.
Yeah.
Again, we got the ability to full carbide head, hitting rebar, keep on going. Getting the dust out of the way, you're ready for anchor.
So maybe I'm overseeing something, right?
No, you're not.
What is the cup? What is the cup and spring for? I'm confused.
Yeah, the smaller sizes, right? 3/8 and below, right? Your TAPCon mainly a 3/16 quarter inch.
Okay.
But you're also 5/16 quarter, you know, so for 3/8, 5/16 and quarter inch, a lot of times you're up top.
Yeah.
You saw that surface debris. Just want to catch that surface
So
debris.
that's what it does.
Roger that.
That's
And
awesome.
let that compress down and get your hole, but you're still getting them. And oh, by the way, I can take this on a little guy, and I can go to the 5/8. I can go to 3/4. I can go to 1 inch SDS-Plus.
So when this is sold,
Right.
this is.
You buy that and the adapter separately.
Okay, so
right?
the adapter comes separate.
Yep.
This comes as a unit.
Yes, correct.
So you're not always having to pay for this part.
Right. So the older system, you know, if you had the old hollow bit,
That was it.
as soon as that wore out, you're done.
Done.
This wore out, that wore out, you're
Gotcha.
done. Right?
What Diablo has done is instead of using that hollow style bit like Steven showed you previously, they've taken this bit, it remains solid. So you have all the structural integrity of the bit. You're not losing anything.
Right. There you go. Now you can see
That's
it.
the bit,
Still
right? So
solid,
we have
right?
that full cutter head.
Right. Getting the dust into the flutes, getting it through the stainless steel tube.
It travels through the stainless steel tube, into the adapter, into the vacuum cleaner. Here's a question.
Okay.
Cost-wise, what are we talking for the innovation here? Because there's got to be R&D, there's got to be study, there's got to be a lot goes into this. So what are we talking cost-wise compared to?
Again, and this is where we're going to make this accessible and affordable to the end user. And that's where we're again, we're amped up about this thing is because, again, let's call it, this is a standard SDS-Plus bit, full carbide head.
Gotcha.
2 cutter. Again, let's call it $17, $18. The Diablo Rebar Demon, $23, $24. The hollow bit version, $200. We're looking at $50 to $60.
So this would be
solution.
50, 60 bucks.
That's what again, depending on the diameter, but I'm just saying
I got you.
for that
for generally
specific
for
size.
this specific
Yep, for that 5/8,
size.
that's what we're looking at.
And here's the thing. I think that Diablo, in coming at a price point like that, you're going to see where maybe previously tradespeople, contractors balked
Right.
at maybe a benefit. There's no good reason not to use this solution at that price point. It's safer. Like, I understand it's safer. Like, there's less particulate in the air.
Right.
But the reality, where the rubber meets the road,
Yep.
this is going to make you more money because it's faster. You don't have to evacuate those holes. You're going to get a better adhesion from your anchoring system.
Productivity,
Yes.
durability, speed, safety.
Yes, it's awesome.
Yeah.
This, in my opinion, will be widely adopted. Mark it down.
Hey,
Steven, you
thanks for
never cease to amaze me. Thank you for having us in the booth. I know this is like a huge event, and I appreciate you just taking the time with us to explain this all.
Absolutely.
As a tradesperson and as a small business owner, love that Diablo's focus is in creating and continuing to create value. And one of the key talking points around a lot of the products is more runtime. And I don't know if people really that are watching realize how that translates into dollars and cents, because battery packs and batteries have a finite life cycle, right? They can only be charged and discharged so many times. And that means if you have to replace those battery packs because there's no longer will take a charge, it's going to cost you money. And Diablo continues to just innovate and hone their product to deliver 60 and 65% more runtime from cordless tools. That really impacts us tradespeople. And I know it's got to be a focus. Is it a focus, or is it just a byproduct of what you're already doing? Or?
Great question. Great. The answer is pretty much more of a byproduct. You know, when you design to cut more efficient, good things happen. So if you're cutting more efficient on a corded product, you're drawing, most of our products, even this product we showed you earlier, draws 35% less amp draw on the product. Well, that's easier for the user to push. It's easier for the cutting tool to work. And when all that happens, good thing, noise drops down, so that's a safer environment. The blade's cutting more in line, so it's cutting cleaner. And think of it like a tire. If a tire isn't properly balanced, you're the best tire out there, you have a nice Pirelli. If it's not balanced right, you're gonna get a rough ride and it's gonna wear prematurely. And a lot that's happening similar to a power tool.
We're with an expert in metal cutting for Diablo tools, Blair. We have a whole bunch of new technology that's actually too much for me to wrap my mind around. That's why we have the expert here, because I would do a terrible job of explaining this. What can you tell us about this CERMEC technology, how it's going to make people more effective, keep them safer, not have to get a burn permit, all kind of good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about cutting heavy gauge steel. I got a big piece of tube steel here. This is a 1/4 inch wall, 2.5 inch square tube, standard construction steel. We're going to show you a more traditional way that people have cut it. In the past, people have used an abrasive cutoff saw, and we're going to show you what you can expect from that. It's going to take a long time to cut. Because it takes so long, you're going to generate a lot of heat in that process. It's going to get super hot. You're going to make a heavy burr. You're going to get discoloration. You're definitely not going to be able to grab it if you don't have gloves on. So we're going to show you the standard method, then we're going to show you a better solution. Here's our 14-inch CERMEC metal cutting circular saw blade. We're going to make a faster, more efficient cut. We'll show you all the benefits there with that cutting process.
Before you do that, is it fair for me to say that those carbide are just so shiny and sparkly? This is almost like jewelry.
That's right.
It's gonna be like, I'm gonna be like the new Flavor Flav. I might wear this around my neck.
Public enemy #1.
You can get a chain for that.
Yo!
All right, we're gonna start with abrasive disc. I'm definitely gonna wanna wear this, and you'll see why in just a second. When it takes you 70 seconds to make a cut like that, you're gonna generate a lot of heat in that process. That heat is gonna leave a heavy burr. It's gonna leave discoloration. If you want or value the finish quality at all, you're definitely gonna have to go back and clean that up. I'm definitely gonna be holding this with a tool, not with gloves. I'll show you why. Wow. This piece right here is about 500 to 700 degrees. So you're not gonna be able to touch that for a while.
Blair, even the plexiglass is warm.
I know, I'm getting a little worried about it.
That's crazy.
So if you don't want burring, you don't want discoloration, you want faster, better cuts, we're gonna show you the solution for that. This is our 14-inch, 72-tooth Cermet metal cutting circular saw blade. When you cut quickly and effectively like that, you don't generate the same temperatures that you would otherwise. I can touch this with my bare hand. It's a few degrees warmer than it was before we started. You're not gonna have the heavy burring and discoloration. You're gonna have a nice clean finish. If you need to weld it up, you're ready to go.
Yeah, whole bunch less to clean up on that. Fabricators probably loving this. But I just picked that up with my bare hand. It's innovation, bro. So this is for heavy metal and steel.
These are great for tube steel, especially you're gonna do fast cuts that don't require hardly any cleanup. In addition, you can do miter cuts. So if someone wanted to do 45s on a tube steel frame, they work ace. They're excellent for that.
Do you have a solution for maybe thin metal or other solutions in this segment that you could show us?
I'm glad you asked. So as you may have heard, we manufacture our own blends of carbide. We have over 20 varieties of carbide that we tailor to every application. The benefit of that is that we can optimize the properties for every individual application. We're gonna have a totally different composition for a thick metal blade than we would with thin metal. So when we go to a thin metal blade, we're not generating the same heat in that profile. What's actually happening is this material, because it's so thin, is gonna vibrate a lot. That vibration is gonna cause a lot of problems with all that movement. You risk fracturing the teeth. So the Diablo solution to that, we're gonna have dedicated options for thin metal and thick metal. When we go from thick metal, we're gonna have fewer teeth. We're gonna have a Cermet blend that resists the higher temperatures. When we go to thin metal, we're gonna have a higher tip count. It's gonna take a smaller chip, it's gonna reduce vibration, and we're gonna optimize the blend of carbide that we produce to resist the fracturing.
And this is also for working with stainless.
You got it. So that's another key point with the Cermet. Because it has the ability to withstand the higher operating temperatures, you can cut stainless steel, which is not something you could generally do with a standard steel cutting blade. You're gonna have to go buy a dedicated blade. You're gonna spend 3 or 4 times what you would on a typical mild steel cutting blade.
So this is crazy. So not only do you have various blade sizes, depending on exactly what metal, it looks like what I'm seeing here, you have different teeth counts. This is terrific. This is a terrific solution. We have a demo you're doing here?
This is a great solution. We're gonna show you that you can actually take metal cutting circular saw and you can cut what has historically been cut with a 9-inch gas saw. Anyone who's used the gas saw before knows what that experience is like. You're gonna make a slow cut. You're gonna do the same thing over here. You're gonna generate sparking. You're gonna generate a lot of heat. You're gonna make a heavy burr that you're gonna have to go back and clean up. We're gonna show you what that experience is like and how it's different when you use metal cutting circular saw blade.
I'm gonna stand in.
It's a little bit faster than a gas saw.
Faster? Yeah, way faster.
It's gonna leave a nice clean finish on there. You're not gonna have any burring to worry about. It's gonna be a lot easier to make a square cut than if you're doing this with a gas saw and standing over it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's terrific. What do you have for thick metal, Chief?
Thick metal.
Or we have real thin metal. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yeah. So one of the biggest issues that we see on a metal framing job site is access to a good workspace, right? Ideally, you'd have a nice workstation. You might have a little chop saw set up, but more often than not, you're not gonna really be able to take your material cart around the job site. So ideally, if you're making your cuts where they're needed, someone's gonna take a nice handheld saw. But again, they're not gonna have a dedicated workstation. So what are they gonna do? they're gonna throw it up on their boot and get it off the ground. They're doing the best they can. This is gonna move around, it's gonna vibrate, and to give, especially the guys that haven't had a career's worth of time to develop their skill set, they're gonna need to maximize that blade life the best they can. So we've done the job for them. We've added more teeth. We've designed a more fracture-resistant grade of carbide to give them that long blade life, even if they don't have the skill set or the history to be able to do that themselves. We're gonna show you the most challenging gauge that you'll find on the job site. This is a typical exterior grade 16 gauge stud. This is gonna give them the most headache. It's thin enough to vibrate a lot, but it's thick enough to push back on the teeth and break them off if you don't have the right blade. So quick and easy, we didn't have to go to a cutting stand with a 14-inch saw. We took our handheld saw to where you needed to make the cut. We made a quick, clean cut, and we're gonna get a lot of blade life for a dedicated thin metal blade.
That's terrific. Save my wrist.
That's right. All right, let's talk carbide again. We manufacture our own carbide. We have over 20 dedicated blends that we optimize for the application. These are Cermet teeth that are designed especially for thick, heavy steel. They're also gonna give you the ability to cut stainless steel because of that high tolerance to temperatures. To demonstrate that, we're gonna show you with a standard 7 1/4 handheld circular saw. This is about double the RPM of what you would have for a metal cutting saw. We're gonna cut down the flange of this beam. That's a 1/2 inch flange on this beam we're gonna cut with a standard circular saw. When you cut fast and effectively, you don't add heat. You get a nice clean finish. You don't have a burr, you don't have discoloration. You take what was generally a wood cutting circular saw, you turn it into a capable metal cutting tool.
So that blade in particular is designed to be used with saws that most guys already have.
Yes, sir, that's right. Everyone's gonna have a 7 1/4 saw for some reason.
That is great.
Battery powered too.
That is terrific. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir, enjoy
Thank
it.
you, Blair. Another point to the high efficiency of your product, or how it makes power tools more efficient, and me and a couple of the other people, tool tubers, if you will, it's one brand that we never seem to get like pushback on is Diablo. Like, it seems like universally people like the brand, and maybe it is because you're very humble.
Wow, thanks for that. I mean, if you look around here, you know, everybody here uses our products, who knows our products. All of us are focused, super focused on, you know, solving true problems for our end users. And that takes all of us, not just one person, two people, whatever. A lot of work to do, we have a lot of progress to make, but, you know, we're much more focused on progress, not perfection.
Sure.
And making sure we're incrementally getting better. I don't think we're ever going to get close to the elusive benchmark that we want to get to, but we're going to work hard every day getting closer.
You know what they say, shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
There you go.
I appreciate you spending some time.
You
Thank
bet.
you so much, Russell.
Enjoyed it.
I appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
And if you appreciated it, smash the like button. It's free for you to do. It doesn't cost you a dime. And you'll get 7 years of good luck. If you want to see more Diablo tools, stick around, because I have to promise that the next video coming up is going to indeed be Diablo tools. Check it out. You're going to love it. Thank you, Russell.
You bet.